I went to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto here last night to see my third Leafs game this month, which is a feat on its own for me, who prior to this month had only been to see one Leafs game when they faced off against the Chris Pronger-era St. Louis Blues. But this game was even more notable for me since it marked my first time seeing a game perched high atop the Foster Hewitt Media Gondola. I don't think it's that common of an experience for many hockey fans, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to share some of my thoughts about what it's like. I should start out by saying that I got this opportunity through a month-long internship I'm currently in the middle of with the Hockey News magazine and website. Over the course of the month, I've gotten to do some cool things like interviewing Stanley Cup winner Brian Bellows for a feature to run in the magazine, and some other more mundane things like fact-checking and editing for features in the magazine and the site. But last night, as had been arranged, I met the other staff member from the office who'd requested to be in the press box for Saturday's game against the Habs, outside Gate 2 of the ACC around 6:45, and then I started following his lead. Other people were lining up at Gate 2 to get inside and head up some stairs to get to their luxury suites, and never having been to this part of the arena before, I assumed we would be doing the same. Instead, I followed him to a pair of soapy glass doors, casually past the yellow parked security guard, and down a set of stairs to a luxurious-looking bar. Kids in jerseys and parents in leather jackets and guys in suits were all around, while we made our way to the accreditation table. There, a lovely blonde woman gave me this. A press pass for the evening. I kept following my copy editor along an ever-narrowing and ever-more bare-walled corridor that gradually started to look a bit more like my hometown community center. We passed doors leading to various kitchens and walked along a hallway cluttered with trade show curtains and cardboard boxes and big rock concert tour crates on silver wheels embossed with shiny red Canadians logos. Several times we passed men in slick suits with the MLSE logo on their lapel, standing guard at Leafs blue nylon crowd dividers, but our magical press passes kept them at bay. Finally, when our surroundings screamed loading bay more than they did VIP bar and restaurant, we came upon a tiny elevator marked Media Gondola. We called it, and when the doors slid open, another man in an MLSE blazer perched on a stool welcomed us, and up we went. We crossed an open catwalk that must give all kinds of sore feelings to the people in the nosebleed section whose view it obstructs, and we entered the press box. Knowing the sheer number of hockey media in Toronto focused entirely on the Maple Leafs, it's surprising just how tiny and narrow everything up in the press box is. You're in a white-walled hallway covered in plaques and old photos, mainly predating the centennial, but as glossy and spotless as if they were new. The entire right wall is covered in plaques, but on your left, towards the ice, there are a number of doors. The organ player and lights man are in the first room we pass. GM Brian Burke is in the next. Then the first set of several stairways down to the front row, where a few lucky sports writers get to pretend to feel important. After that, some more doors leading to the layers of the different TV broadcasters, including Joe Bowen. My Hockey News mentor tells me that sometimes in our seats we'll be able to hear the commentary that's going out on TV, which is a useful way to keep up with stats and other things that may not be so evident. I laughed, not really believing him that we'd be able to hear him, but it wasn't long before I realized we definitely could hear him, and I actually could look right over my shoulder and make eye contact with Joe Bowen, and at one time I actually did, and it was kind of weird. Further down the hallways is an assortment of complimentary cups of popcorn and chips and party mix, and a cooler full of Cokes and ginger ale and waters and iced teas, all complimentary. And I'm told after the first period another cooler that's currently empty will be full of ice cream. There are some media information guidebooks, these babies, and we each take one and find our seats down in the outer front row. The little walkway that we have to go on is the narrowest one I've seen all night, and we squeeze by some other writers before sitting down on some tall padded chairs that help us crane our necks over the side to see the whole gloriously unobstructed rink below. The Habs took an early lead, and the Leafs responded less than 30 seconds later, so there was 1-1, and the arena was as crazy as it would be all night in the first period. After that, some bounces went Montreal's way, and the final wound up 3-1 for the bad guys. By the way, he wasn't kidding about the free ice cream. Anyways, as the seconds tick down, I put together some questions for ex-Leaf, current Hab defenseman Thomas Kaberle, thinking he'd probably be happy to speak to some members of the Toronto media, even if it's just a rookie like me. We catch the first elevator ride down to the main floor and make our way back past the trade show gear to the dressing rooms, where a man-made blood clot of reporters and cameramen and light stands have amassed outside the winner's room. You don't want to try and go get quotes from the losers, I'm told. A surly-looking but quite polite old man is instructing the mob of reporters to take some steps back so the Habs equipment people can ship out the massive hockey bags to the buses. I'm sort of on the outside of the scrum, so it's easy to just hang back and not be in the way. Hey, there's Cassie Campbell. Eventually, all the gear is moved out and we can move in. The scrum shifts from player to player, from goal scorer Lars Eller to winning goalie Carey Price to recently acquired forward Rene Bourque. I catch some of it on my little video camera, but mainly stand back and soak it in, not trying to shoulder my way in for a quote to a story that I haven't even been assigned. Speaking of soaking it in, it really stunk in there. A split stick was hanging out of a garbage can. A set of 3 or 4 tables in the center of the room has an array of pens and hockey tape and glasses of Gatorade. Price's mask and pads are still out at his stall for the night, but other than that, everything has been cleared out. Nearly half the pack has already headed back out to the hall, where Habs coach Randy Cunneyworth would soon be answering some questions, but a few of us were still milling about waiting for Kaberle or maybe Subban or Gilsey. There he is, 12-year or so veteran of the Leafs, Thomas Kaberle. A little mob comes around him for a minute that clears out, and I chime in, "Hey Thomas, could you answer a few questions for the hockey news?" "Sure," he says. I pretend to hear him say, "kid," at the end. So I ask him a couple token questions about what it's like to be back here in a Habs jersey, and if he thought the reception was any different from when he came back here for the first time as a Bruin. By the time I get to asking about the game, I can tell he's kind of bored and has other things to do. So after I ask him a quick one about the game plan for shutting down Toronto's offense, I say thanks and head sheepishly back out into the hall to find my coworker, and we depart. It was not too bad of a first experience all in all. I'll be a little bit more confident next time. You know what? I don't care if you're bored. I have more questions to ask, and when you answer them, I can use them and make you look cool. Oh, and by the way, there will be a next time, and it's this Monday. I'll get to do the whole thing over again when the Leafs play the Islanders at the ACC, so that's going to be pretty cool. So that was that. Talk to you again next time.